So I am back up here in Gardner, Montana at the Roosevelt Arch, the northern entrance to Yellowstone. And it is night. It is, checking the time here on my watch, it is 11:17. We still got about 20 minutes before it's fully dark, because we're pretty much right on the 45th parallel north. So it takes a while to get fully dark up here on the 4th of July. I'm going to grab my camera bag, tripod, my tracker, walk over to the gate and get set up and be ready to go, because as soon as it gets fully dark, and maybe a little bit before, I'm going to have the alignment of the Milky Way that I want with the Roosevelt Arch. So let's get over there and see what we got to work with tonight. Now, at least for me, I know that a lot of photos I've seen of the Roosevelt Arch, which is the north entrance to Yellowstone, tend to be looking through the arch into the park, and they make it look like it is in the middle of nowhere. Somebody is possibly about to drive into my shot behind me. But the reality is, it is right here on the edge of town in Gardner. So if you've never been here before, that might surprise you. It definitely surprised me a little bit. But even here in the middle of the night, at almost midnight, I'll give you a look around at what's behind me here in Gardner. It's a very small town, not giving off a ton of light, which I'm fairly happy with. They seem to be doing a pretty good job here in the neighborhood of the arch of going with low intensity lighting. Even this light here that is casting a little bit of light on my face while I'm shooting this little bit. This is a downward facing little tiny light coming along this fence line. But there's a decent amount going on here on the edge of town, and that's why the arch has so much light on it. So I'll give you a quick look around. So since my shot just finished, I used my headlamp to light the arch over there, and maybe you'll be able to see it. But as we turn around, you'll be able to see there's some street lights here. This little light here is the light I was just sitting in front of. And then this is what's going on in town behind me. Especially this light over here. This is what's really lighting up the arch, is these lights over here. It's the street coming down to the Roosevelt Arch. So you're definitely right here on the edge of town. Let's go back to my shot. Okay, this is the composition that I am working with here. As you can see, there's quite a bit of light falling on the Roosevelt Arch, because we are like right on the edge of town here in Gardner. I don't know if you can see the Milky Way there on the pocket very well, but it is there in the shot. We are just now entering into total darkness at 11:36. So really just right now. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the tracker and set up the shot. But overall, I think I like it pretty well. It's definitely dark enough out here. The angle here with the Milky Way, the shooting the arch from a little bit to the side, it does look kind of funky, like almost like it's falling over. Might have to do some perspective correction with that in Photoshop afterwards, we'll see. But there's my shot, and we'll see what we got. Don't know how well you can see that shot there. That's my longer foreground exposure for this shot. This is at 24 millimeters on my 24-70 f2.8 lens. I think I'm going to try and go a little wider because it does seem a little constricted. But I wanted to get that tighter shot early on before the Milky Way starts slipping away to the right. I think I'm going to throw the 14-24 on there, go a little bit wider now. And I also, over here to the right, I have my iPhone on the GorillaPod over on this fence over here. That's the advantage of the GorillaPod. You can kind of wrap it around things. And I'm going to squeeze off a few shots with my iPhone while I'm out here as well, just for fun. But of course, we got the Z8 on the tracker, and I'm going to switch to a wider shot and play with that for a little bit. So I've got the 14-24 millimeter on there, and I'm actually at about 16 millimeters for this test shot. And for a night that's supposed to have been basically cloudless, of course I have just a little bit of cloud there covering up the core of the Milky Way on the horizon. But I do like the angle of this shot at 16 millimeters. We're picking up kind of the full width of the gate complex here, and the Milky Way stretching across the sky from one side to the other. So I am going to set this up. Let me bring that back up. I'm going to flip the tracker back on and try and grab this shot, and while that's happening, I'll walk over to my phone and try and grab that as well. So after trying the couple vertical shots, I've gone to a horizontal. Still have the 14-24 on there at about 20 millimeters. And that cloud has finally moved out of the way so we can actually see the core of the galaxy. So I may go back and try make that 24 millimeter vertical again, although I'll have to move my position as the Milky Way is slipping off to the right. But I'm going to grab this horizontal composition because I kind of like it, and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so taking another look at that vertical composition. After finishing up with my horizontal, I'll try and get this exposure to adjust. As you may be able to see there, even at 14 millimeters, the Milky Way core is pretty far off to the right now. It's nearing 1230. So I'm probably not going to take another vertical shot because the positioning was better in my earlier shots, and there's a little bit of that cloud starting to creep back in on the horizon as well. So I don't think I'm going to do better than what I already got. So I think I've got some nice vertical shots and a couple different focal lengths. I've got a nice horizontal. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night up here in Gardner. Pack all this up and head back to the house. I think this has been a productive night.